Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at sending money from New Zealand to Australia. So we put together this video just to show the differences in the exchange rates from the banks and comparing those to a challenger service like Wise. So let's just go through it. I'm currently overseas, so that's why the time here is about 46 past midnight New Zealand time. So on the 20th of June, 2023, when I created this video. And I'm just showing that the exchange rates will vary between the banks, not by much, and then we're going to compare that to Wise at the end. So, for example, if you look at the ANZ, that their buy rate is 0.8913. So that means if you transferred 1,000 New Zealand dollars, then you would get $891 Australian, 0.30 cents, less the fee that they charge. So that's always, you have to know that these rates are always exclusive of any transaction fee that they're going to apply. If I compare that to Westpac, and first of all, you can see here that their fees are about $20 for transferring, unless you have a special account. And if I go back to their exchange rates, then you'll see here that if I refresh these, because they're constantly being refreshed, this is at 45 past, then you can see that the exchange rate is going to be, to make an international payment, to send it, it's going to be 0.8901, which is fairly similar to what ANZ is offering. ANZ is slightly stronger, but if you're doing small transfers, it's not going to make a big difference there. And then if I look at ASB, they have got a very sort of a useful tool, and you just go through and put in what you're planning to transfer. If we look at what their exchange rates is, then you can see here it's 0.8917, and then you can also see what the transfer is going to cost in terms of their exchange rate there. So that exchange rate that they use, if you're going to send over, if you wanted, say, $1,000 in your account from Australian dollars, then it would show you what it would cost in New Zealand. At the same time, if you wanted to convert to Australian using New Zealand, then that's fine as well. So, for example, if I want to send 1,000, then that's going to show you that. Yeah, now that's subject to the fees, which they've said is now $5, and that's consistent with some of the banks being more competitive. Right. So if you just look at that exchange rate, it's a little bit higher than the likes of Westpac, but not by much. But it's just worth comparing and keeping in mind that. Now, I've linked all of these down below in the video description so you can make your own comparison. But it's just really important to always compare, because you are paying your money for Australian dollars, so there's no point to overpay for that, because money is money here. It's completely the same, and so you want the best rates at the fastest speed. Secondly, here, and this is BNZ talking about their $5 per payment fees, and at the same time, if you're going to go back to the exchange rates, and these were last updated yesterday, so not so helpful, but they don't move that much. It is unusual that the BNZ doesn't have live, but you can see here they've just gone for 0.89. If I compare that to Kiwibank, and their exchange rate, of course, is subject to movement at any time, they've got the rate of 0.8905. So that's pretty much what those rates are. They kind of all center around 0.89, and that's all very nice. But what does that mean? Because it looks all the same for the banks. The fees may vary. For example, Kiwibank's going to charge you $20 to send, whereas other ones are going to be $5. Some of them are going to be $15. And then if I compare that to Wise, then you can see here that if you wanted to send money, then you'll be able to see the exchange rate. So let me just go right here, and if I change that to Australian dollars, and then you can see here that the rate is 0.9055 0.58. What that means is that it's much higher than what the banks are offering. So if I was to send, say, 10,000 New Zealand dollars, then with Wise, and this includes the fee, which they've got quite large there because it's quite a large amount, it's $45, is going to be the net amount I'll receive in Australian dollars is 9,017. But if I was to say compare that to what ASB is offering, then if I was using their their tool here, and it would show that I would actually get 8,917. So it's about $100 difference if I just compare. So there's 9,017, and the ASB is going to be 8,917. So that is very annoying if you're an ASB customer. Like, why have I just spent the same amount? Of course, this is subject to fees as well, so it's going to be slightly less because you're going to pay that $5. And if I was to send, say, $1,000 from New Zealand to my Australian account, then I'd get around $892. But if I was to compare that on Wise, then I would be paying a much lower fee, and I would get $900. Now, of course, $901. So that compares very favorably, to the Wise, where sorry, to the ASB, and that is also subject to fee. So it's about $15 less, or what I work out to be around 1.5%. What I would suggest is simply go to your bank and see what the exchange rate is, and then compare what you're planning to send over to Australia and compare that to Wise, and then make an informed choice there. Of course, Wise is very convenient for setting up, Australian bank details, so you can get paid in Australia, you can send money, directly from Australia. But at the same time, we want you to make an informed choice. So, of course, our guides are there. I've linked them. But do certainly do your own research. We put together this video just to show that the rates from the banks are pretty average, and the fact that you'll be stung with a fee on top of that as well. And we like the fact that the Wise is very transparent, and it's got its fees all there. It's got the exchange rate, and you're pretty much straight away. It's much faster as well. So from our work and our experience, to send money from New Zealand to Australia using Wise, you don't have to have it like the money in the Wise account. You can just transfer it from your bank to Wise, and then it'll take about 3 hours in total, usually, to make the transaction and to end up in your Australian bank account. But if you were to send the telegraphic transfer or the fast bank transfer through your New Zealand bank and use their system, then of course you'd pay a little bit more. In some cases, lots more, depending on the volume, also the size of the transaction. And also, you're usually waiting between 1 and 2 days, sometimes up to 3 working days. So it can be a lot slower. So do keep all this in mind. We just wanted to show you the difference, but I think that the best example here is showing the fact that a $10,000 movement is going to get you $100 less for Australian dollars as well, which shows you how sort of uncompetitive the New Zealand banks can be in this regard. Please leave us any comments down below. We're highly responsive to those. We want people to ask us questions. We want to respond to them quickly, which we do, so we can improve the guides and bring out more related resources. Thanks very much for watching.